I thought at first he was going to out my other nighttime passion, my secret desire to be a dancer. 12 months ago, we stood on this same stage, marveling at the precipice of a new era. The AI revolution didn't just knock at our door, it kicked it down and made itself comfortable in our living rooms. We talked about this being a watershed moment, how this might be the most exciting time in history to be alive, and we wondered about the future of our world. We talked about breakthroughs in AI for genetic research, and we wondered about a future where the word incurable was banished from our vocabulary. We explored coding co-pilots, where coding could be done as simple as just having intent. And we wondered about a future where everyone is a programmer, the same way they were all photographers today with the cameras on your phones. We talked about the future of music in movies and digital rights, and we wondered about the future of the arts. We even combined Barbie and Oppenheimer into the perfect date night movie, Barbenheimer, and we wondered about the future of content creation. We addressed AI's impact on jobs. Would it replace them? Would it augment them? And we wondered about the future of work. 2023 was the year of wonder. It was the year we took the limits off our dreams and allowed our imaginations about the future to run wild. 2024 is the year about results. It's the year we stopped talking about what AI could do and started talking about what AI is doing. And sometimes the reality is much more complicated than the dream, because the results are in, and so far, they're mixed. Some companies are reaping incredible rewards, optimizing supply chains, reinventing customer experiences. But for every success story, there's a dozen companies who are struggling to get AI out of the lab. Hospitals grappling with integration nightmares, manufacturers drowning in data swamps, and businesses of every type realizing that off-the-shelf AI is not a plug-and-play panacea. Have we underestimated the true cost and complexity to make AI work? Are we so distracted by the destination that we've ignored the pitfalls, the detours, the cliffs along the way? Or are we thinking too small? Are we so fixated on the challenges right in front of us that we are missing out on the potential transformation of tomorrow? These are the questions that we will address over the next few days here at Evolve. You're going to hear from some companies who are at the forefront of AI application, those who have faced challenges and have emerged with valuable insights. We'll explore new tech from both established partners and young startups who are literally reinventing capabilities that we have every single week. And we'll chart a path forward, one that balances the need for pragmatism with the audacity to dream big. So buckle up. They're still in the early stages of this race, but it's time for you to decide what role you'll play in AI's transformation. So let's first address the side of skepticism. Why are we having so many complications, and why have we had so many struggles? Well, ChatGPT last year kind of tricked us. You were able to get to it a conversational interface, maybe cheat on your homework, plan a vacation really quickly, and you thought, wow, I can put ChatGPT in front of my company's data and hallelujah, miracles will happen. But the reality is that it's not that simple. And we found out the hard way. It's pretty complicated. In fact, there's tons of research being published every single week on how to make these generative AI solutions much more effective. There's a lot of chain of types of effects that you have to go figure out how to make these things work better. We've got chain of thought prompting to make it reason. We've got chain of verification to reduce hallucinations in large language models along the way. We've got chain of notes to enhance the robustness of the data that you're retrieving. We've got chain of feedback to prevent the performance degradation from users just mashing on the keyboard asking the same question over and over again. Chain of abstraction to enhance reasoning. And if you forgot about risk, you wind up with a chain of vulnerabilities leading to an exploit chain, leading to a chain of disasters, I was going to pull that off. I couldn't get her to come out here, so I'm going to do it myself. My nighttime dancer aspirations. Leading to a chain of shots in Vegas before you have to come back to the office on Monday to wear the chains of shame. I don't want to wear the chains. You're wearing them. And it turns out the whole time, the whole problem that you had is that you weren't using emotional stimulus when you were talking to the LLM. You're not using psychology to make it feel good about itself or make it feel bad if it's not helping you with what you need. Make it feel guilty. And let's be honest, if we were all so awesome at communicating and getting in touch with our feelings, the divorce rate wouldn't be 50% in this country, right? Some of us are batting a little higher than that. But I guess what we have learned then is that our new AI adoption strategy is just send everyone to therapy and magic will begin to happen. Other skeptics would tell you that we're meeting this point of diminishing returns. We're running out of all the data that we have to train. We've already used all the internet's data to train, and we're not going to get much better than this. In fact, we're using synthetic data, or data generated by AI, as some kind of cheap data substitute, and now we have digital corn syrup running through our training algorithms. And just like real corn syrup, it might feel great right now, but we're going to run into some big health issues in the future. It's also led to analysts downgrading several of their forecasts. Goldman Sachs released a recent set of findings where they're changing the way that they think about the future of Gen AI. Last year, they said that 2/3 of all occupations would be affected by AI. This year, they've downgraded that and said that only 25% of all tasks would be exposed to AI, and only 5% would actually be cost effective to do anything about it. And this is due to the rising costs of generative AI and running these types of solutions. That there's going to be a shortage in chips. AI growth over the next few years, the demand will outstrip the supply. We'll also have an increase in power demand, the likes that we have not seen in a generation, and utilities are not ready for this. Oh, I guess that slide was in the wrong order. Now, some have predicted that this will lead to some type of AI winter, where we're cutting research and development due to overhyped and under-delivered expectations. Or maybe you're sitting in an AI sadness. You still believe, but you're just frustrated at the lack of success, progress, or speed in which your organization is moving. I like to think we're more of like a time of AI reflection. Time to take a look and be honest about the problems that are in front of us and chart the path forward in a way that makes more sense. Because all transformations in the beginning have skeptics meet their hurdles. If any of you, some of you weren't alive back then in the year 2000, but in December of 2000, this article was printed in the Daily Mail. The internet may be just a passing fad as millions give up on it. Now, if you weren't alive back then, you're probably thinking to yourself, that's preposterous. The internet is a passing fad? Hello, have you seen the world today? But if you were alive and using it back then, and you had to sit through the righteous sound of your dial-up modem connecting over your phone line, screaming empty promises at you, until minutes later, you finally got the moment of the day, the true excitement when you received your first email. Yes, there was a time where we were actually excited to receive emails. What a great time that was. You know, there were many people who didn't believe. And what happened in the next 18 months? The bubble burst. We had the dot-com crash. The NASDAQ lost 78% of its value. And all the skeptics said, see, I told you. We were right. This is just a passing fad. But they didn't know that broadband was coming. They didn't know that mobile was coming. They didn't know that our world would completely transform itself because we were so short-sighted on the challenges right in front of us that we're not thinking big enough about the future. And what makes me so bullish about right now is that this is the worst that AI is ever going to be. Last year I talked about AI is improving in exponential terms, and we're just now peaking out of the hockey stick moment. And if last year we were there, we're only right here, right now. There are tremendous advancements that are coming that will help address many of the challenges that we have right in front of us. I'll go over just a few to address some of the challenges that we called out from the Goldman Sachs piece. First, the transformer is one of the foundational components of generative AI solutions. Without going into too much detail, what you just need to know is that as it scales in the context size, it needs quadratically more memory and compute power. That's why our infrastructure is so expensive. That's why these things are so costly. That's why they consume so much power. And that's why we're running out of chips. But if you weren't aware, there's tons of research happening to enhance or augment the way transformers work, to reduce that. And there's many alternatives that are out there to where transformers may not be the answer in the future. So let's not get lost in the early stage findings around why things are so expensive today. Further, we'll start designing applications to use small models. You don't have to use large language models and everything. In fact, using a smaller, more focused model could save you up to 50 times the cost of the solution that you may be developing just on a vanilla ChatGPT or equivalent today. Both of these combined will mean that less infrastructure will be needed and will draw less power. And if we still can't solve the power problem, nuclear fusion has had several breakthroughs over the last few years. In fact, our outlier sponsor, Microsoft, signed a first contract with Helion, a startup who plans on having the first nuclear fusion power plant online by 2028. And Microsoft has signed a commit with them to use that power as part of their goals to be carbon negative by 2030. And if we still can't solve for our power problems, then at least we will have solved for the unemployment problems, because we'll all wind up as human batteries for our new AI overlords. So these are just a couple examples of how technology is changing, so we don't get lost in the challenges of today, thinking that these are impossible problems and they're going to last forever. And if you believe that we'll solve the technical problems that are in front of us, if you believe that AI will transform the way that we live, that we work, that it will transform our world, if you believe that these things are possible, then what would you do today? If you were absolutely certain about AI's future, what bold decisions would you make right now? Now, the beautiful thing about Trace3 having thousands of clients is that we're having thousands of conversations about AI. And today we thought we would share a little bit around the things that we're seeing, some of the amazing things that you all are doing, the lessons that we're learning along the way, and some just key points of advice. Now, I don't have a ton of time, only 7 minutes left, so I'm just going to hit the peaks because we've got amazing sessions on main stage and in breakouts that are going to take you into the depths of all these topics we're about to cover. And it just so happens to be organized in the same go-to-market as Trace3 has for our AI clients. First, AI strategy. A show of hands, how many people out there have an AI strategy at their company today? That's actually less than I thought. Keep your hand up if your AI strategy looks like this. You would be shocked how often this is the answer we receive when we're asking, like, first, let's align to your business strategy. Great, do something with AI. It's a checkbox, MBO, receive from the CEO. Everybody needs to do something with AI. The problem with doing this is a problem that we call cute AI, because you've given your workers no other guidance around the problems that you desperately want to solve, and you've just encouraged them to use AI any way possible to do something. And that conversation usually looks like this. Mrs. CEO, we've done something with AI, and we'd like to check the box. Great, show me what you've made. Aw, that's cute. Okay, well, what value are you driving with this? Well, we're more productive. Well, what metrics are you using that you know you're more productive? Oh, we're not using any metrics. Well, then how do you know you're more productive? Well, I feel more productive on the inside. I don't know about your company, but Trace3 does not have a chief feelings officer on board. As you can see, our emotional returns are going this way. Thank you, AI. This is great advice from Eric Siegel on this topic for strategy. The antidote to hype is to focus on concrete value. And what concrete value means is that the problem that you've chosen to solve for your business should be worth solving regardless of if you use AI or not. And in fact, most of the workshops that we do, 80 to 90% of the solutions that we come up with in conjunction in our client discussions don't need AI at all to solve that problem. Use the lowest common denominator, keep things simple, reduce the complexity and have success, and use AI where it truly matters, where you're truly being transformative. And when you find the problems that are really worth solving, then go all in, and are you being bold enough? Think bigger, think more exponentially, think in infinite terms. Quick example, Chamath Palihapitiya, any of you listen to the All In podcast, I'm a huge fan. He started an incubator this year. It's called 8090. He is looking for enterprise software that all of you currently use today, and he will build you an 80% feature complete version at a 90% discount, leveraging AI to help build these solutions. Now, exponential thinking, being bold, very transformative, disruptive. Even if they fall short and they do it at a 50% discount, that's still a major win. So are you being bold enough in your AI strategy to find the big problems worth solving regardless of AI and fall in love with those problems? The solutions will come later. AI governance and risk. Colorado signed the first bill this year around AI regulations. California is right behind them. Many other states are coming. Regulation is coming. 91% of enterprises in the US today do not have an AI governance program, but they will need one in the next 2 years. We know this is a huge problem. Why haven't we done it already? It's pretty daunting, and we don't know what the regulations are all going to be yet. And we're worried that by doing this, we're going to slow everything down. Now, Formula One, I'm a huge fan. I'm going to draw a little comparison here. My daughter got me into this show over COVID, a show called Drive to Survive. And it's called Drive to Survive because Formula One racing can be very deadly. In fact, in the 60s, there were 14 drivers who died. In the 70s, 7 drivers who died. In the 80s, 3 drivers who died. And then 2 in the 90s on the same day at the same track, or the same track, the same race weekend. One of those being Ayrton Senna. I don't know if there's any Senna fans in the house, but this guy was an amazing driver for his time. 3 World Driver Championships, over 41 Grand Prix victories. Incredibly sad story when he died in the same weekend as another racer who died the previous day during qualifications. What happened after this is a whole series of regulations that occurred for safety purposes. And in the next 30 years, only 1 other driver has died in 30 years. And today, these Formula One cars are driving faster than ever, and the 5 to 6 Gs that they pull through turns on the track are almost double what it was in the 60s. And the basics here is that if you solve for the safety issues, the trustworthy part of what you're doing, you'll be able to do AI faster than ever because you will solve for the risk and less things to worry about. AI solutions. How much does it cost? Not really a question that we're all equipped to answer all the time. Are you using the right techniques? Nicholas is going to go into much more depth with this with several of our clients, so I'm not going to steal all their thunder, but I am going to address one thing. One is knowledge worker burnout. When we think about using AI solutions, the first thing that happened was exponentially, we approved projects that were focused on driving efficiency, and the promise of AI said humans want to do the high-level work, using their brain to really think about stuff. And we'll do AI to do all the menial things, and then we'll be able to focus on just the important things all week. Well, the issue is that humans need the breaks. We weren't actually designed to think at a high level for 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week continuously. And all those menial tasks that you were doing actually were the respite that you needed to come back and do great work. And so are we thinking about transforming our processes in ways that are aspirational enough, that takes this into account? 50% of all employees said that they don't know how they will ever produce the productivity gains that were promised by the C-suite. And part of this is that we're just focused too basic in what we're trying to do. Gen AI assistants, that's cute. The problem is that humans don't just want to do less. We actually want to do nothing. I talk to this Gen AI assistant, and I'm like, oh, tell me this thing. I'm like, great, like, what do I do about it? Like, oh, sorry, I can't help you with that. Like, what good is this thing? So are you thinking boldly enough about this? Gen AI assistants will lead to agentic workflows, will lead to future AI employees. Be bold in your thinking, think like an AI native, truly transform the types of processes that are in front of you. They're giving me the hook, so I am going to rush through this last part. AI architecture and operations. Any teenager with enough Red Bull can make you a prototype in AI today. We all know this. But it gets you just part of the way there. It's going to take you tremendous effort to think about scale and enterprise grade. Many customers that we're dealing with today aren't realizing that the infrastructure needs to scale quadratically, parts of it exponentially. And they're running small pilots with small pieces of architecture, and then they don't build out the way that they need to. Big things to keep in mind: that scale, speed matters, and that the number one hurdle that we're finding is data, that people's data is not ready. Now, 35% of executives say their organization's data is ready for AI. Is ready. 35%. The other 65% said those guys are lying. Because when you peek under the covers, it's like some episode of Data Hoarders that's occurring back beneath the covers. Great news is that there's tons of technology coming out to help you with this. Don't treat all your data the same way. When you find the problems that really matter in your strategy, and you prioritize down to the solutions, you'll find that you've got targeted sets of data that you can treat in a special way. And don't let thinking about all your data slow you down. It's one of the biggest problems that we're seeing. Now, time is short. I've got to get off the stage, so I'm going to just end it like this. In the last 20 minutes, we've addressed and confronted some big problems, some big questions around the future of AI. And we can't ignore the pitfalls, the cliffs that are in front of us along the way on this journey. But we also can't miss out on the transformational potential of tomorrow. So if you're on the side of skepticism, skepticism doesn't have to be the enemy of progress. In fact, you can help be the catalyst to a more sustainable future. And if you're on the side of the dreamers, have the audacity to dream bigger. And no matter where you fall on the spectrum, after the next 2 days, I hope you take in all the sessions, talk to your peers, learn about the incredible things that are happening, and then when you leave on Friday, ask yourself this one question. If you were absolutely certain about AI's future, what bold decisions would you make right now? Thank you.